let's talk about the big game contest. I'm thinking of something like a little bit different than the old Super Bowl squares. There's really no skill involved in that. We wanted something to get us a little bit more engaged with that, so we came up with something that I think was at half the size of the contest is now from a question standpoint. Tom, you brought up Jaxon Smith-Njigba as a longer shot MVP. Well, if you answer the question like that, and he wins MVP, well, that question's going to be worth more points than if Drake May or Sam Darnold wins the MVP. So it's essentially like betting odds. The higher the number, the better the return, but the less likelihood of it happening.
We're not going for golf scores here, Joe. We want to accumulate as many points as we can. A lot of strategy with this game. 36 total questions this year. Sometimes, it's the coin toss. You only get 1 point on one side, 1 point on the other side, but this is a lot of fun.
I want to welcome everybody who's watching the show on the Fantasy Points Betting YouTube. We just launched the channel. It's a soft launch. We launched it in January, which seems to be counterintuitive to the fact that the NFL season starts in like August and September, but Good Friend Trey has a plan for the channel. So go to Fantasy Points. If you click on Fantasy Points on YouTube, you'll find all of our channels under there, Dynasty, DFS. Subscribe to all of them. You will be glad you did, because we have plans to blow it out. But it really helps us if you subscribe to the channel, you give us a thumbs up, you leave a comment on the Fantasy Points YouTube channel as we try to get that off the ground so we can keep doing some of the content you guys love, you guys hate, whatever the case. So thank you for everybody who's checking us out on YouTube. And if you're not checking us out on YouTube, well, make sure you go there, because we're going to have some pretty graphics up there as we go through the big game prop contest. I want to welcome Good Friend Trey into the program, who's been doing such a great job behind the scenes of planning this all out for us. Good Friend Trey, you are never going to resist an opportunity to put some money on a game, and I'm certain you're going to be entering the contest that I run for my friends, and we'll give some background on that. But how are you going, Good Friend Trey?
Yeah, life's good, and you mentioned we soft launched YouTube. If you ask my girlfriend, she would let you know that I only soft launch. That's that's how I operate. So no hard launches over here for Good Friend Trey. But happy with the progress so far on the channel, and excited to dip into some of these props and spin some narratives for some folks.
Joe, so, I think he wanted to get the YouTube channel up and started here, just in case the Patriots win. He did give out the Patriots last offseason, so he just wants that out there on more, on the podcast. Now we can get it out on YouTube. So I think he has some ulterior motives to this.
I'm putting out an ad in the local paper too.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm trying to get this to go as far as it can.
So that's the kind of content you get. And look, when you hit a 125-1 long shot, a lot of the other bets, it doesn't even matter. So congratulations, Good Friend Trey, for even having that in his wallet right now. But nonetheless, let's talk about the big game contest. So here's the background of it. Like I think all good things, it kind of happened organically. We were going to a Super Bowl party. If you'll remember, former fantasy guru and my co-host on SiriusXM, Matt Camp, we went over to his apartment for Super Bowl 50, and that was the Panthers and the Broncos. And Tom, we were thinking of something like a little bit different than the old Super Bowl squares, right? But by the way, I enter Super Bowl squares. I enter way too many of them. But like, there's really nothing to follow for game to game. There's really no skill involved in that. We wanted something to get us a little bit more engaged with that, so we came up with something that I think was at half the size of the contest is now from a question standpoint. But we put together a Google Doc, printed it out just like a worksheet at school, and we it's multiple choice questions, and they're scored with basically how likely each event is to happen. So for instance, if you want a long shot MVP, for instance, Tom, you brought up Jaxon Smith-Njigba as a longer shot MVP. Well, if you answer the question like that and he wins MVP, well, that question's going to be worth more points than if Drake May or Sam Darnold wins the MVP. So it's essentially like betting odds. The higher the number, the better the return, but the less likelihood of it happening. So
It's we don't want. We're not going for golf scores here, Joe. We want to accumulate as many points as we can. A lot of strategy with this game. 36 total questions this year. Sometimes it's the coin toss. You only get 1 point on one side, 1 point on the other side. But there's time and place to take some calculated risks with this type of contest, and maybe you go for a couple of long shots in spots where you might correlate with the rest of your pool. So this is a lot of fun. Some people just answer all the favorites, and you're probably going to finish in the top 10, top 15 if you're doing this like with your friends or whatever. But probably not going to win the pool. You got to have a little bit of a blend of taking some of the favorites and taking some of those calculated risks and going for a couple of long shots.
So here's the beauty of the contest. Not only do we have the option for you to do exactly like we did 10 years ago in Super Bowl 50 and print it out and bring it to your own big game Super Bowl party, but we're running the contest at Fantasy Points, and we're giving away 5 subscriptions valued at over $1,500. We're going to drop the link in the show notes, so just so everybody knows that. You have to create a free account at Fantasy Points. No big deal. It's easy to do. And we have a form on the website where you just fill in the answers. We collect your information, and then at the end of the contest, the 5 highest scoring players are going to receive some prizes here. It's starting with first and second place get a fantasy bundle subscription for Fantasy Points. Ooh. Third through fifth place get a Fantasy Pro subscription at Fantasy Points, and the grand prize also gets a t-shirt thrown in. So you'll be glad to enter this, but I think people like bringing it to their own party, and it's a lot of fun. We've been running it. So without further ado, Tom and Good Friend Trey.
Current subscribers can join the contest, and they get credits towards their account too. Yep. You don't just have to be a non-subscriber to get the free subscriptions. Any current subscribers are more than welcome to join. And Joe, we've had a huge response to this. We've been running
hundreds of entries.
I think we were close to 800 some entries last year. So a lot of people love doing this, and it's fun. Hey. Maybe get a couple of people. Maybe you want to go head-to-head against somebody in the pool. You don't even have to run one. You guys can, keep track of it and see who does better. But a lot of people loved getting into this and gotten it up nice and early this year. Feel free to get those answers in whenever you want.
Without further ado, let's just go through and look at the questions. Now, this is why this is a fun contest, because there's something in here for the non-football fan, right, in your life, like the one who, I'm just here for the commercials, yes. Like that. There's stuff for that fan, like we ask about the halftime show and easy stuff like the coin toss as well. Good Friend Trey, let's get going, man. All right, so we're going to start with the length of the national anthem by Charlie Puth. I had to look up the pronunciation. It is Puth, not Puth. 120 and a half seconds. That's 2 minutes and a half a second, Tom. This is one there always is going to be some movement on, like, the day of the Super Bowl. And they figure out...
It's usually the Friday afternoon, Joe, is whenever there's some movement, because I think that's when the rehearsals usually are. Right around like 4 or 5 p.m. It might be a little bit later this year because it is out in Santa Clara. But you'll probably see some movement on this line right now. But it is right at that 2-minute mark for Charlie Puth. We'll see where this one ends up going, but very interesting here. It's always right around that 2-minute mark. I might have to go listen up on a little bit of Charlie Puth to get an idea here.
Are you familiar with the catalog of Charlie Puth, Good Friend Trey?
I'm familiar. Listen, there's no need to listen up on this catalog right here, because I'll tell you, there's a saying my old boss at the Utah Jazz used to say about a certain somebody. I'm not going to mention names, but he would say if that guy was a candy bar, he would eat himself. And Charlie Puth is the same exact type of person. This is going over. No way this guy's getting in and getting out. He's making this about him. This one's going way over, fellas.
So, by the way, his name is Charles Otto Puth Jr. And I'm like, Why are they having a British guy sing the American national anthem? No, he's American apparently. So that is a very British name. So I just figured he was like some Ed Sheeran type of character. But nonetheless, Charlie Puth, over or under? I think it's kind of been under the last couple of years. If I remember
it usually
correctly.
does. Somebody that comes up with the questions. I mean, we use a lot of the same questions every year, but the times and everything, obviously the names and people are different. But this one, it does tend to start out a little higher, and it does get bet down a little bit as the week goes on. So let me just, how sportsbooks score this is from the moment they start singing. It's not the intro until the moment they shut their mouth. Is the length of the national, and sometimes somebody will add like 3 extra Braves on at the end, and that really screws with it. But I feel like we've had that in recent years as well. All right, this is another popular question, shown first during the national anthem. Easy. Mike Vrabel, Mike McDonald, neither are split screen. But Tom, Mike Vrabel is the favorite, I guess, because he's the most famous coach. And he also has the unique circumstance of winning a Super Bowl with New England as a player. Yeah, he has previous experience here. So the Patriots are slightly more favored, and they're a little bit more of the national team. Of course, we're going to have a huge audience watching this game, but more people are familiar with the Patriots in New England, so that's why they're the slight favorites. But heck, maybe you could have Nick Sirianni crying his eyes out. Of course, that's going to be the first coach you're going to show. So things can change. I'm sure they go in with a little bit of a plan for how they want to show players and coaches, but it can get thrown out the window pretty quickly.
Coin toss, nice and simple, Tom. Binary here, heads or tails. Good friend Trey, are you a tails never fails kind of guy?
Tails never fails. Absolutely. I'm going tails till I die.
All right.
I'm a tails guy too.
So,
it has alternated the last couple of years.
As somebody who runs this pool, by the way, for friends and family, I will tell you the majority of people pick tails.
Okay, I might be going heads.
So like I'm just giving you the scoop. It feels like it's 60-40. I've pivoted to a heads guy here.
Okay,
on
so
this
people
question.
think they're being contrarian, taking tails, but it's not actually that way. It's heads is the contrarian pick. Here.
Okay. So this is one where we start to create some separation. The first accepted penalty. The most common penalties here: offsides, false start, etc., worth about 2. The next most common, holding the illegal block in the back, which can happen on the kickoff, by the way, which is more likely now. 3 points. A personal foul or an unsportsmanlike conduct, like a taunting, 5 points. PI is 6 points. And intentional grounding or delay a game. You've got to be a real dummy to get a delay a game in the first quarter of the Super Bowl. But I guess stranger things have happened. That's a 7. Tom, I do recall a New England Super Bowl where Tom Brady throwing the intentional grounding from the end zone. So not only did intentional grounding win this, but safety won the first score.
Which will be later in the poll here.
So
yeah, that was a bizarre one. It was a really weird one, too. It was down the middle of the field, Joe, if you remember it. He just threw it to nobody, and we got that. That was one of the rare intentional grounding, but that was a big question for this poll. I think that probably ended up deciding it. So the questions start getting really important right out of the gates in the prop contest.
The player to score the first touchdown, we have them grouped by position. Seahawks running back and quarterback, Seahawks tight end, wide receiver, a Patriots running back or quarterback, Patriots wide receiver or tight end, or an either team defense or special teams, which would count for safety. Because the Seahawks are favored, Tom, their players have a slightly lower point totals, but that's a fun question to answer. And here's where you might be able to create separation a little bit, good friend Trey. If you think the Patriots are going to get the ball first, maybe a little Kayshon Boutte action after his one-handed touchdown catch there. Maybe he's somebody who gets in the box first.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I'm looking here. That's probably where I'd go. It's a nice little opportunity to get a little equity there, and like a Hunter Henry type. And then I'm banking on Hunter Henry in the red zone, and I'm getting all the other wide receivers thrown in as a bonus. So that might be a nice little place where you can differentiate. I had to say I would feel pretty confident you're looking at like a Kenneth Walker here. Obviously, that's why it's priced the way it is. So, but yeah, I could see maybe Hunter Henry getting some action early.
The next question here on the slate is Number 6, and it's will either team score in the first 6 minutes and 30 seconds of the game? This is a binary one, yes or no. Recent Super Bowls, and honestly in general, have felt really slow to start, so maybe there's a little bit of an advantage to the no. The Patriots very famously, in the Bill Belichick era, like all of their Super Bowls for like the longest time were scoreless in the first quarter. Like it just, they got off to a slow start. Now maybe Vrabel plays it the same way, but obviously these are different teams. What will happen first is number 7, a sack or a touchdown. Sack is favored here, T-Bro. Those defenses, been getting after the quarterback a little bit, especially that Patriot defense of late. So maybe the Patriots can get to Sam Darnold first. And there's a question that can almost kind of tie into this a little bit later on. So you kind of want to correlate things, but you'll understand that question when we get to it.
Yeah, and this one might be one of those. If you're going to bet the yes, score in the first 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Maybe you want to do a little touchdown with this one, thinking maybe there'll be a quick score, a big play or whatever. So, but if you're thinking more of the defensive struggle in the first quarter, maybe you take the no with 6 minutes and 30 seconds, and you take the sack with it. So these are definitely a couple of questions I would probably correlate.
The team to call the first timeout. Let's be honest, you're taking a guess here. It's just like the coin toss. I mean, it might depend on who gets the ball first. In
years past, we've had Andy Reid, who likes to call some dumb timeouts, so they were probably a little bit better pick. But this year, I'm not real. Vrabel's pretty sharp with his game management, clock management, and I think Mike McDonald is pretty savvy too. So I don't know if there's real advantage for that one.
I think this one, these are two questions where I think good friend Trey's gears start to turn a little bit here. Number 9 is the player to throw the first interception. Sam Darnold is the quote-unquote favorite. Drake May is next. No interceptions is worth 3 points. An other player is worth 10. I know Ben Johnson's not coaching in this game, but a little Jameson Williams throwing the ball, what's Stephon Diggs' arm look like? We also just saw, Bo Nix get hurt in a game, so is somebody going to come in here? And
that's always a possibility too. We don't want to see that. That would kind of ruin the rest of the Super Bowl. But I mean that was the one thing. This next question too: how many players will attempt to pass? These teams really haven't drawn up too many trick plays. Honestly, I don't know if anybody else has actually attempted a pass for Seattle. I forget. I went through one of the teams. Remember that Jalen Milroe guy? I mean, he ended up.
Remember the Milroe package? Yeah.
Yeah, that never really happened this year. Maybe they'll wait and they'll pull it out for the Super Bowl and totally catch
that would be
off
so
guard.
dumb. But yeah, by the way, this one, how many players will attempt to pass? I always think there's value in the over, and it happened last year, good friend Trey, because you might remember. There was a blowout in the Super Bowl last year, and Super Bowl champion and Super Bowl pass attempter Kenny Pickett threw a pass in that game, and that helped me cash in the contest, good friend Trey. But I can see your gears starting to turn with these two questions.
Yeah, I'm always trying to attack this if there's any angle possible to get there. It's a little bit thin this year, I would say. I think there's 2 opportunities here. We kind of talked about it on last week's show. The Seahawks potentially are a much better team than the Patriots, almost like that NFC championship game was actually kind of the Super Bowl. We discussed that last week. So maybe it's a blowout and you get the backup coming in to throw a couple passes. Here's the sneaky one. I love talking about this guy. A.J. Barner in the tush-push formation. Could they pull out one of those, like Dallas Goedert always gets with the Eagles? Could they maybe have saved it for all year? They get in that tush-push situation, and they throw out a little pass out to the right, Barner to maybe even Elijah Arroyo, tight end to tight end, and that's how you get your completed pass there? I don't know. He is an athlete. A.J. Barner is an athlete. I think he can throw it.
Another couple questions here, T-Bro. Result of the first coaches challenge. Booth review doesn't count. There has to be a coaches challenge. I don't think there was a challenge in last year's Super Bowl, and that is worth the most points here. Will any touchdown be overturned by replay review? By that means taken off the board, so not added. So no is most likely to happen. Yes is less likely to happen, but it happened last year. Do you remember Jahan Dotson catching the pass down the right sideline?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He fell He fell a little bit shy of the end zone, so that was taken off. So yes would win here. So
that was for the first touchdown too, wasn't it, Joe?
I believe
that
so.
One,
yeah,
that one had a big because then he got marked down at the 1. We'll get to a question later here that is also tied to that. So that Dotson play, I remember that having huge ramifications on the poll.
All right, so now we're getting into some of the fun ones here, and now I tend to like being familiar with the catalog of the halftime performer. I gotta tell you, I'm not that familiar with Bad Bunny's music.
Got a lot of time, Joe. We can study up.
I do know. So here is the question: which of these songs is played first? And it must be performed by Bad Bunny. So I think there was a couple of years ago with The Weeknd, like he had a choir, and the choir was singing one of his songs, but it didn't count because he has to perform the song. Bad Bunny, I will tell you, Titi Me Pregunto is an absolute jam. Una novia.
Sounds like you have been doing a little bit of
so we have all these songs: Titi Me Pregunto, Baile Inolvidable, Monaco, La Mudanza, Nueva York, and DTMF, which I'm guessing is DTMF, which is, I guess that's how he would say it. But nonetheless, if you're familiar with Bad Bunny's catalog, you could score this one live. If not, setlist.fm will have the set list up very quickly. So we'll see that for Bad Bunny. And Tom, this is always one of your favorites. Halftime show wardrobe is the next question here.
Gotta get something in there.
What headwear will Bad Bunny have on for his first song? The favorite is a straw hat. It could be a baseball cap, which is second. No hat is third. Or an other hat, like I guess like a top hat or something, or a fedora could be next. Good Friend Trey, are you a headwear expert?
I wouldn't call myself a headwear expert. I do have some opinions on Bad Bunny, though. We did, in the green room before the show, I did play you his, he wrestled at Backlash in the WWE in Puerto Rico, and he came out to his song, my Spanish is not nearly as good as yours. I believe it's Chambea. Is that how you would say that? Chambea. So I wish there was like a Chambea. I wish there was like an other, or like a, if you call your shot on this one, because if you are listening right now and you're even kind of a fan of the WWE, go watch that Backlash entrance of Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico. Absolutely electric stuff. So I could see that being his intro song for this game. I'm just in the weeds on that.
Oh, by the way,
watching the tape on that stuff.
So that's a good point, though. If you rewind to that question a little bit, it's which of this group is performed first. So if
we had some controversy with the poll.
So if he opens with Chambea, this question would still be valid because it has to be one of this group. That doesn't remove the action from the song. Okay, so I think we're done with the Bad Bunny. And if you don't have confidence that you can win the contest at Fantasy Points that we're putting on for the Fantasy Bundle subscription, well, you still have until Super Bowl Sunday to get our 20% off early bird special that'll take you all the way through the 2026 season. And the early bird special includes Fantasy Points in-season betting content. That will not be the case if you do not order on the early bird special. So you get the best deal. And if you add in code THEWORM, one word, I'll give you an extra 5% off on top of that. So, and then if you win the contest, well,
you don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. And you get an extra year of a subscription. So congratulations on that. All right, Tom and Trey. Now we're getting into some simple ones here that just have the varying degrees of scores here. Who kicks the longest field goal? And we do count for injuries here, by the way. We have the Seahawks, the Patriots, or the no field goals or a tie. I can't remember the last time a Super Bowl didn't have a field goal. I'm sure there is one, but I can't remember the last time. But that one is an 8-point question. That's a monster score if that happens. The shortest touchdown of the game. Under 1.5 yards is worth 1 point. Over 1.5 yards is worth 2 points. Last year, the Eagles had a tush-push touchdown. And Good Friend Trey, you brought up A.J. Brown, a little tush-push. Now, maybe it's a little less likely for Seattle now that Zach Charbonnet isn't there to fall into the end zone, but under is typically the one that wins this one.
Yeah, but you get more points here. You get 2 points if it is over 1.5. So you get get a little bigger reward if you go a little contrary to the rest of the people if they do go under a yard. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe there's not going to be a whole lot of scoring in this game, and maybe going with the over might not be a bad play.
So the next question is the team that scores the longest touchdown with the length of the longest touchdown. The Seahawks, their touchdown bets are worth less than the Patriots because the Seahawks are favored in the game. And then it's basically pick the team and is it over or under 36.5 yards. So, but like a 45-yard pick six would count as the longest touchdown. So it doesn't have to be an offensive touchdown. We mentioned both of these teams have great kick returners, Marcus Jones and Rashid Shaheed. So that's something to take into account there, T-Bro. So again, this is, you kind of play the game out in your mind when you're doing this contest. And that coincides with any defensive touchdown, special teams touchdown, or a safety. I'm going to tell you right now, I am clicking yes on this one. These defenses are good. The special teams are good. Good friend Trey, there is no way you're taking no on this one.
I'm absolutely taking yes, and I'm correlating all my other plays with this little thought that I've had in my head here. It's not anything super crazy, but would anybody be shocked here if Rashid Shaheed just domes one off rip and takes it to the end zone to start the game? It seems like he's been just having an electric playoffs. It's coming up all Rashid Shaheed right now, so I'd like to see him do that little Devin Hester 2 steps and off to the crib to start the game. That's kind of one of my hot takes for this. So I'm building everything around Rashid Shaheed scoring a kick return touchdown, maybe to start the game.
Okay, that would be Joe. How would we score that one? That would be technically a defensive special teams touchdown for the first touchdown.
Yes.
And not a Seahawks wide receiver.
Correct. Yeah, so it would be a DST touchdown.
Yes.
And will there be a successful 2-point conversion attempt? There was one last year. The Chiefs were getting debacled, and they had a 2-point conversion.
They were trying to catch up there.
That's worth 3 points. No is worth 1. Tom, I love this one, and this is a Tom Brolley special.
I had to come up with something here.
For the Seahawks-Patriots rematch here, even though it's not the same coaches or teams, nonetheless, the Butler did it. How many passes will be attempted from the opponent's 1-yard line? I'm going to tell you right now, there is no freaking way the Seahawks are running a pass play from the 1-yard line.
Yeah, that's I did see there is a prop out there. They're like plus 500 to throw a pass from the 1-yard line themselves. So we'll see if Seattle does it. I think every one of their fans will be groaning. You'll be able to hear it in the stadium and across the country if they do throw from the 1-yard line. But this does include both teams here, Joe. So this is total passes for the entire game. So maybe we don't see any passes at the 1-yard line. You take the 0, take the easy point, or you can go a little more aggressive and take some of these other options. So definitely this one is going to be correlated with that shortest touchdown potentially. So
I think I'm taking the 0 on this one. Like, I know it's the lowest, but like, could you imagine? Now, on the other hand, could the Seahawks exercise the demons?
Yeah.
If they throw one from the 1-yard line and it's completed. What do you think there, good friend Trey? You got to get the gears turning here.
You can't. Not if you're the Seahawks. Don't do that. Don't make that a thing. Just run it 4 times if you have to. You get stuffed. Getting stuffed after running it 4 times is better than doing what you did in that Super Bowl. So just run it 4 times. You don't want to be that guy that carries this on.
Next, we have our favorite cross sport bet, and it's a binary one. Who has more, Jaxon Smith-Njigba catches or Scottie Scheffler birdie plus Eagles? And I guess I'd throw an albatross in there in the 4th round of the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Tom, this used to be a massive curse because there's no action if Scottie misses the cut. Like, I think we had like 5 years in a row where our golfer missed the cut.
Incredible, Joe. The run that we had at the beginning of this poll, we could never get a guy through to the weekend. Joe, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that we are safe with Scottie Scheffler this year. I think they were saying he hasn't missed a cut since 2023. So I think we're going to be safe with this one. I think Scottie will see the weekend and we will have some action on this prop. But it should be very close. I mean, we know at JSN can rack up catches. His line's right at 6.5 catches. Scottie Scheffler can fill it up, and sometimes those guys can go low out at the Waste Management. So should be a pretty close one here. I might lean towards Scottie, though.
The waste management, by the way, will wrap up basically right as the Super Bowl's kicking off. So you'll have some information there. We should probably close this contest, by the way, or in the morning, because there is a way to get a little bit of an advantage. If you're
listening to the podcast this long, Joe, we'll let you know. Like, if you do submit a little bit later, it usually does still get through. So
yeah,
we'll close it eventually. I think we usually close like 3 or 4 o'clock, right, Joe? So you might get some information on Scheffler, but knowing him, he'll probably be playing in the last group and still racking up birdies right up to kickoff. So
I like this one, the Seeing Ghosts, Good Friend Trey. We've seen a lot of fumbles from Drake May in the playoffs. How many combined lost fumbles will we see here? And if you're saying, this might be a defensive game, you're picking the defensive special teams touchdown, I'd wager you're going to put a lost fumble on here. We've got the longest rush. Kenneth Walker is by far the favorite. Then Drake May, then Ramondre Stevenson. But I tell you, there's value on Travion Henderson, Good Friend Trey, here at 4 points. He had a game where he had like the 2 50-yard touchdowns, and he has just been a sleeping, I don't want to say a sleeping giant because he's kind of done nothing in the playoffs, but he can change the game with one play. And there might be some value in any other player with Rashid Shaheed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know if it's just my nature, but every single question I see, it's the 4-point option that always looks the best to me. So
you love that
the 2 fumbles, 1 apiece there for May and Darnold. I could definitely see that. I could see Darnold having a couple himself. And then, longest rush, I love the Travion Henderson look there. The only thing you worry about is it being a pass and not a run for him. But, I mean, that's his game, right? That seems like an extreme value there. And if you could get a little Rashid Shaheed jet sweep, I could like that look too. I probably, if my pick there will probably be Travion Henderson as well.
All right, so now we're going to get into some basic ones. Who has the most touchdown passes and plus interceptions? Sam Darnold, was one of the leaders in the NFL. I think he might have actually led the NFL in interceptions this year. So he's the quote-unquote favorite. Who scores more PPR fantasy points, Hunter Henry or A.J. Barner? See Good Friend Trey putting Barner on there.
Barner's getting a tush-push touchdown, so that's automatic 6 points right there.
Yeah. Player to score the last touchdown. Very similar to the first touchdown question. Which is the highest scoring quarter?
We were talking about the first quarter earlier, Joe. 6 points for it if you want to be brave and take that first quarter prop. We do know some of these past Patriots games have took a little bit of time to get the scoring going, but second and the fourth quarter, usually the two of the higher scoring quarters, those are the you get the fewest points for those, but we do tend to see those second and fourth quarters get a little bit more action.
Who will record the most receiving yards in the game? And this is from the group, okay? So if somebody out of like Jake Bobo goes absolutely nuts, it's still going to be of the group of the top 3 Patriots, Diggs, Henry, and Booty, or Cup, Shea.
Yeah, we want to take JS. That was more.
Yeah, we took JSN out of the group.
Yeah, because JSN doesn't really have anybody that's really close to him. So, usually like even last year we had a couple Chiefs options, couple Eagles options. This year JSN is far and away the top receiver in this game. So, wanted to close it down a little bit here and take him out of the loop and take some of these smaller receivers out. So it's kind of the secondary options here.
Tom, are you a fan of Lil Wayne by chance?
Not really.
Okay, well, Lil Wayne did say once upon a time, real G's move in silence like lasagna. And look who we have hiding down here, A.J. Barner, my guy. I won't be taking A.J. Barner here.
You're saving him for some of the first and last touchdown props, I'm going to guess.
Who will record the most passing and rushing yards in the game? Drake May is the favorite here, then Sam Darnold. This is one of my favorite questions. What will be the final play of the game? A kneel down? Any other just normal play like a kickoff, a running play, yards from scrimmage, or a scoring play, which would obviously be a very exciting play. That is worth by far the most. The double result. Who is ahead at halftime? Who's ahead at the end of the game? Tie at halftime has come through in the past year, and it is worth 8 points. The spread winner, it's a binary choice. Seahawks -4.5 or Patriots +4.5, 1 point apiece. the total. We got to fix this, Tom.
I messed up.
Yeah, we got to get that fixed on the site too. Let's make sure Brock gets in. I believe it's 45.5.
Oh yeah, it is 45.5 for the total points. Yeah, I screwed that one up, but the double result one, Joe, that's always a fun one. If you do bet the tie one, you do kind of know right away if you're going to be winning that prop, and it's worth 8 points. So if you don't want to sweat it all the way down to the end, you pick the tie. You get the most points if it does end up being tied at halftime. Yeah.
So sorry about. Hey, look, this is live radio here, and now I just punched my microphone. We are editing in real time here. Always a fun one. This is one for the normies in your group. The color of the liquid poured on the winning coach. I think what people will do is they'll go back and see what was poured on Mike Vrabel, what was poured on Mike McDonald, in the championship game. Then you got the Super Bowl MVP. Sam Darnold and Drake May are the favorites, but we mentioned Jaxon Smith-Njigba, maybe a Patriots defensive player. Those are options for you as well. I don't know, Good Friend Trey, if you're going to go off the board on this one.
Yeah. Oh man, I probably not going off unless I go AJ Barner. I could go AJ Barner. No,
I thought you were going Shaheed.
I mean, if he does have that storybook moment, opens it up, and then maybe catches a long pass in the middle of the game, that might give him enough to get there. But I'm probably with Tom on this one. I think the best bet here is Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Again, I think the Seahawks are going to win, even though I have that Patriots ticket, and I just I don't think they get there with Sam Darnold. So, or don't think that he's an MVP type caliber performance in this game. It's probably Kenneth Walker or Jaxon Smith-Njigba. So I'd probably lean with Jaxon Smith-Njigba, or hey, maybe AJ Barner. Who knows?
And then our final question, that is a popular one here, is who does the Super Bowl MVP thank first? God, team, or teammates are, by the way, the heavy favorites. And then it's cities and fans, family, or their coaches and the owner. Well, Mr. Kraft might be getting in the Hall of Fame.
Mr. Kraft. Yeah, that's true, Joe. I mean, going out and hiring Mike Vrabel, maybe he, although this is MVP, but maybe they thank Kraft for going out and hiring Vrabel. Who knows? It will be very confusing. This is always one of those. We always kind of, the Super Bowl parties wrap up and Joe's texting me or I'm texting. Who did the MVP thank? Because, everybody's kind of breaking up their parties and especially after a very long day, we kind of forget about that one. Did we have
one recently where the MVP just didn't thank anybody?
I'm pretty sure. I can't remember who. I don't think it was last year, but maybe.
Jalen Hurts is a holy roller, so I think he thanked God first.
For sure.
But I got to look up Sam Darnold and Drake May's church going habits. So that's one I might have to dig into, and I might dig into Jaxon Smith-Njigba as well, just because those are the favorites. So are they going to be going to Sunday service before the Super Bowl is my question.
And you do have Seattle. They're always talking about the 12th man.
Yeah.
Like if you do think Seattle, maybe going for the big points with the city fans might be the way to go. So a lot of options here. But yeah, God is usually the first one, but we do get teammates and teams and teammates too. So a bunch of good options here. Maybe think about that city and fans.
I think if it's like glory to God, right? That counts.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like it's just mentioned. It doesn't have to be thanked. Okay. See, that's good wording to the question, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fantastic. Anyway, and the tiebreaker is you can go over. This is not Price is Right style. Not like
Yodeler.
Yeah, the Jaxon Smith-Njigba and Ramondre Stevenson combined rushing and receiving yards. So you can go over. It's just closest to the pin. That could be a big total in this game. So I'm looking forward to that one. Hey, make sure you check out the contest. I'm going to be running it for my friends and family. I'm going to be running it for Good Friend Trey, of course, who's going to be entering. I know that. Tom, I know you're going to enter.
Absolutely.
My mom's going to be the first person to enter. She loves this thing. Good Friend Trey, what's going on, man?
I'm gonna tell you what, and I'm just gonna. This is a future bet, okay? That I'm placing here. I am going to go to the bank. I'm gonna take out a second, third, fourth mortgage on my house. I'm gonna get every penny I own, put it away in savings. And when Fernando Mendoza wins his first Super Bowl MVP, I'm betting on God. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So file that one away. Can one of those teams pick him up before the Super Bowl? Can that happen? Because I need one more Fernando Mendoza post-game interview at least. As many as I can get.
Can we officially call Geno Smith the least valuable player in the NFL?
I know. Jeez.
They replace him.
That's what I was just thinking. The Raiders are never getting to a Super Bowl.
They replace him, the Seahawks do, and go to a Super Bowl with a guy who's been a punchline for like 6 years. And then the Raiders get the number 1 overall pick. What a disaster.
Yeah, that's
Brett said on first read that Geno Smith was the only quarterback out there worse than Aaron Rodgers right now, because they were trying to decide who the Steelers were going to start at quarterback next year, and Joe Marino brought up Geno Smith, and Brett said I actually think he might be the only quarterback out there that's worse than Aaron Rodgers.
I'd agree with that. I'd rather
so.
go with Aaron Rodgers for another year with Mike McCarthy than Geno Smith.
We're going to have to get Tom Brolley's thoughts on his stee and the hardest working garment of clothing in the world, Mike McCarthy's top button. But you could probably check that out on SiriusXM in the morning, because I know Paul Kelly is really fired up to discuss the stee
about it.
with Tom Brolley. But
I will not be fielding any questions about the Steelers for the next couple of months. No, it's oh man, Joe, I am not happy, but we got to press.
He is fired up to be the coach. I will say that.
It's just I'll give a little bit here, but hey, I mean, they need a totally restart here. Do it with a young coach. It just feels like a continuation of the Mike Tomlin era here. So. I know a lot of Steelers fans are not very excited about this. We thought this was the one chance that we had to start young with a coach and kind of rebuild the roster, but it doesn't feel like that is the plan at all with Mike McCarthy.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on Best Bets. I hope everybody enjoys planning out this contest, playing this contest. You can play at Fantasy Points, and you can run it at your own big game party. Thank you for subscribing, rating, reviewing the podcast. Thank you for subscribing and leaving a comment on the YouTube channel. It is helping our new channel get off the ground. That's Good Friend Trey. That's Tom Brolley. I'm Joe, you're you, and you are going to be back with us next week when we really do a deep breakdown on the big game, Super Bowl 60. Thanks, everybody.